There comes a moment in every man's life when the world no longer knocks politely at the door of his peace. It storms the gates. It comes not with courtesy, but with chaos. It rips away comfort, robs him of order, and dares him to respond not as a child of circumstance, but as a master of self. And it is precisely in that moment when the storm rises, when the betrayal strikes, when the silence grows loud and hope seems absent, that a man must make a decision that will define his entire future. Will I allow this world to rule me, or will I rule myself? Let no man be deceived. Happiness is not the fruit of chance. It is not gifted by others. It does not fall upon you like rain from heaven. Happiness true, lasting, unconquerable happiness is forged. And the forger is none other than the disciplined mind, detached from the chaos of emotion and anchored to the power of purpose. The average man reacts. The uncommon man responds. The average man is swept by tides of emotion, rising in anger, falling in despair, thrown by doubt, torn by criticism. The uncommon man is still. He does not run with the crowd. He walks with vision. He does not shout with fear. He speaks with faith. And what is the secret of his inner power? It is not the absence of hardship. It is not the elimination of pain. It is emotional detachment, the sacred art of choosing your state of mind regardless of what the world is doing around you. You were not born to be a puppet of emotion. You were not made to beg for peace from the hands of others. You were born with a mind that can rule the world if only you would first rule yourself. He who conquers 1,000 enemies is mighty, but he who conquers himself is invincible. Now listen closely, for I speak not to your comfort, but to your greatness. You must begin to see emotion for what it is, a servant, not a master. You must master the art of mental neutrality, the ability to observe, to calculate, to remain centered while others lose themselves. To stay happy when life tries to break you is not a matter of denial, it is a matter of design. You must design your thinking. You must condition your response. You must rewire your inner language. For if you do not instruct your mind, the world will. And what will the world teach you? Fear, comparison, jealousy, weakness, noise. But what will you teach yourself? Order, focus, calm, confidence, inner power. The greatest tragedy is not that people suffer, for all men suffer. The tragedy is that most men suffer needlessly because they have not learned the first law of power. You must never let what is happening outside of you define what happens inside of you. Let me repeat that with the emphasis of eternity. You must never let what is happening outside of you define what happens inside of you. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It is not a withdrawal from life, it is a command over life. It is the inner space from which you choose your direction, not as a slave of reaction, but as a sovereign of decision. Do you know why most people never find peace? Because they chase it in things that are temporary. They think happiness is in the next deal, the next relationship, the next compliment, the next validation from someone else's mouth. But hear this, anything that can be given to you by others can also be taken from you by others. And that which can be taken is not real power. Real power comes when you stop waiting for the world to grant you permission to feel good and you decide that your peace is your property, not your prize. Now let us speak of definiteness of purpose, for a mind that lacks purpose is vulnerable to every emotional wind that blows. If you do not know where you are going, every offense will derail you, every failure will discourage you, every doubt will paralyze you. But if your purpose is definite, if your vision is clear, then adversity becomes fuel, not friction. You must ask yourself again and again, what am I doing this for? Not just to make money, not just to gain applause, but to develop your character, to fulfill your potential, to dominate the one battlefield that matters most, the battlefield within. Do not let your energy leak into things that do not build you. Do not spend your days reacting to shadows, defending your worth, explaining your intent. A lion does not turn around when a dog barks, and a mind set on purpose does not answer every insult, fear, or criticism. Now, let us go deeper. The second great principle is self-discipline, the inner sword by which you cut away weakness, distraction, and emotional chaos. Self-discipline is the bridge between thought and action. It is the difference between a man who dreams and a man who builds. It is the ability to do what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like it or not. Feelings are not commands, they are suggestions. Discipline is the decision to follow principle, not impulse. If you only act when you feel ready, you will forever remain a servant to mood. But if you act based on your values, you rise above mood, and mood begins to follow you. Success is not emotional, it is strategic. And strategy requires detachment, analysis, calmness under fire. Now let us speak of a sacred tool that very few understand: autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? It is the deliberate repetition of thought, the conscious choice to saturate your mind with words and images that align with your purpose. The subconscious mind does not filter. It accepts what is repeated. If you repeat doubt, you will become doubt. If you repeat defeat, you will become defeat. But if you repeat victory, if you speak power, discipline, certainty, you will become the very embodiment of success. Words are seeds. The mind is soil. Whatever you plant, if you water it with emotion and repetition, it will grow. So choose your words with the precision of an architect. Affirm daily, I am the master of my thoughts. My emotions serve me, they do not rule me. I respond, I do not react. I am calm in the storm. I am anchored in my purpose. Repeat these not as flattery, but as instruction. Speak to your mind as a general speaks to his troops with clarity, conviction, and control. You must become the commander of your inner army. Next, we turn to the principle of accurate thinking. Most people suffer not because of reality, but because of inaccurate interpretations of reality. They take one failure and declare it the end. They hear one rejection and label themselves worthless. They experience one betrayal and decide that no one can be trusted. But accurate thinking sees through the fog. It does not exaggerate. It does not dramatize. It does not distort. It gathers facts. It separates opinion. It examines without panic. To be happy when life tries to break you is not about avoiding pain, it is about interpreting pain correctly. Ask yourself, what is the lesson? What is the gift? What is this trying to build in me? Every hardship has two outcomes. It can break you or it can build you. And the deciding factor is how you think about it. You cannot control all events, but you can control your interpretation of them. And your interpretation determines your future. Let us now speak of the golden key, mastery over emotion. Emotion is energy in motion, but energy, if undirected, becomes chaos. Your task is not to kill emotion. Your task is to command it, to channel it, to transmute it into creation, into focus, into action. A wise man does not deny that he feels anger. He uses it as fuel. A wise man does not pretend that he is never afraid. He walks through fear with purpose at his side. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is not emotion, it is emotional mastery. Mastery is not the absence of fire, it is the ability to contain it and aim it. Understand this: the emotions you fail to master will sabotage your success. Every great empire, before it fell, first surrendered its inner order. And so it is with man. Collapse does not begin outside, it begins within. First comes frustration unspoken, then resentment unchecked, then decisions made in the heat of emotional blindness. You will not escape the trials of life, but you can escape the tyranny of your reactions. The battlefield is not in the stock market, it is not in politics, it is not even in relationships. The battlefield is the mind. And he who learns to stand still in that place, unmoved, observing, choosing, rather than reacting, becomes invincible. How do you do it? By practicing what I call the law of mental neutrality. Mental neutrality is the ability to observe life without absorbing its poison. It is the discipline of standing in the fire without becoming the fire, to hear criticism without shrinking, to face failure without folding, to encounter betrayal without becoming bitter. Neutrality does not mean indifference, it means elevation. You rise above the drama so you can see clearly. You rise above the noise so you can listen wisely. You rise above the attack so you can move strategically. A reactive mind is always weak, no matter how loud it screams. A detached mind is always powerful, no matter how quiet it speaks. Picture a still lake. Now picture a storm crashing across it. The lake begins to ripple, then to rage. That is what happens to most minds. They mirror the storm. But the master has learned to keep the lake calm even while the storm rages above it. You will be insulted. You will be tested. You will be misunderstood, slandered, overlooked, betrayed. That is not a possibility. That is a guarantee. But your response? That is your sovereignty. They may strike your name, but do not let them strike your nature. They may shake your circumstances, but do not let them shake your certainty. Now hear me well. There is a profound secret hidden in the word response. It implies space. Between the event and your action is a sacred space. And in that space lies your power. That space is where kings are crowned or overthrown. That space is where the future is either forged with steel or shattered by emotion. If you do not create space, you will live in reaction. If you create space, you move with intention. You must train yourself to pause, not with weakness, but with power. You pause, you think, you feel, and then you choose. That is how empires are built within. Let me now introduce you to another critical law, the principle of thought first. All actions begin in thought. All words, all gestures, all achievements, all regrets, they all began as a whisper in the mind. Therefore, to master your life, you must first master your thoughts. But how can you master what you do not monitor? The average man allows 60 thoughts to pass through his mind every day, most of them unexamined, most of them reactive, most of them inherited from fear, not forged by purpose. You must become vigilant. You must become the sentinel of your own consciousness. Every morning, before the world has a chance to speak, you must speak to yourself. You must affirm your power. You must clarify your purpose. You must set your emotional thermostat, not let others set it for you. And every night you must review. Did I act from vision or from emotion? Was I calm or was I chaotic? Did I lead my thoughts or did I follow my feelings? This discipline is not easy, but it is essential, for only those who think with intention rise to live with impact. Now let me draw your attention to a beautiful paradox. The more you detach from your emotions, the more deeply you feel life. Because now you are not drowning in reaction, you are swimming in clarity. You are not bound by fear, you are led by understanding. You are not ruled by the ups and downs of approval, rejection, fortune, loss, you are rooted. This is not about numbing, this is about commanding. This is not about becoming a robot, this is about becoming a ruler over the empire of your own mind. Let us turn now to one of the most overlooked disciplines of power, the practice of stillness. In a world that worships speed and applauds noise, stillness has become a lost art. But stillness is where power is born. Stillness is where you meet yourself. Stillness is where you hear the deeper voice, not the screaming of fear, but the whisper of wisdom. Carve time every day to return to the silence within you, for that is where your answers live. When you are still, the chaos of life cannot reach you. When you are still, the judgments of others lose their sting. When you are still, you remember, I am not my emotions. I am not my circumstances. I am the master of my response. You must understand, most people are not living, they are reacting. They are not thinking, they are remembering pain. They are not acting, they are escaping. And because they do not know who they are inside, they chase who they should be outside. But you must walk another path. You must walk the path of mastery. And mastery is not about doing more. It is about being more disciplined, more focused, more inwardly free. Let us now explore the principle of personal initiative. Do not wait to feel ready. The man who waits for emotion to align with purpose will die waiting. You must act before you feel like it. You must do the thing while your mind resists. You must plant the seed before you see the fruit. And the beauty is this, action creates emotion. You act strong, and you begin to feel strong. You act calm, and peace begins to arise. You act with purpose, and meaning begins to grow inside you. You do not wait for the world to give you peace. You become the cause of your own peace. This is the law of cause and effect. If you allow your emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you govern your thoughts, you command your future. Now hear this clearly. Life will try to break you not once but many times. But happiness is not found in avoiding the breaking. It is found in becoming unbreakable. Unbreakable not because you are numb, but because you are trained. Unbreakable not because life is kind, but because you are committed. Unbreakable not because you feel no pain, but because pain no longer controls your path. You have a mission. You have a mind. You have a moment now. The question is, will you remain the slave of your feelings, or will you rise detached, disciplined, and destined? The next principle, often feared yet never fully embraced, is this: the power of calmness. Now let us be clear, calmness is not weakness. In fact, it is the final form of strength. Calmness is the mastery of response. It is the seal of the mature mind. It is the ability to remain composed in the presence of conflict, composed in the presence of temptation, composed in the presence of ignorance, composed even in the presence of praise. The average man explodes, the weak man folds, but the wise man remains still, because he understands that the one who loses his temper first loses the advantage first. You must never let urgency from the outside create recklessness on the inside. You must never let their noise become your inner soundtrack. Your calmness is your crown. Never trade it for temporary relief or emotional vengeance. A mind trained in calmness becomes a sword sharpened by silence. It cuts through noise, it cuts through lies, it cuts through illusion. You will know you are becoming powerful when you no longer feel the need to react. When someone accuses you falsely, you observe. When the market crashes, you analyze. When fear arises, you breathe. The world honors the one who can remain steady in the storm. For only the steady man becomes a shelter for others. And that is your secret weapon. While others are breaking down, you are building. While others are reacting, you are rising. While others are shaking, you are sharpening your will. So train your calmness like a warrior trains his blade daily, deliberately, with devotion. It is your shield, it is your compass, it is your inner throne. Now listen, for this next law must be engraved into your spirit. He who does not control his thoughts becomes a slave to the thoughts of others. Let me speak plainly. You are always being programmed. By the media, by your peers, by the culture, by your past. If you do not actively take command of your inner dialogue, the world will install its own script in your mind, and that script is one of limitation, doubt, envy, chaos. You must become the author of your mind. You must sit down with yourself every morning and write the narrative of who you are, what you believe, and where you are going. Do not say, I hope. Say, I decide. Do not say, I feel lost. Say, I am recalibrating. Do not say, I'm broken. Say, I am rebuilding. Words shape identity. Identity shapes perception, and perception becomes destiny. Let us now return to a sacred distinction, one that separates the masses from the masters. Reaction is instinct. Response is leadership. If a man cannot control his reactions, he is not free. He is bound by the invisible chains of emotional slavery. His chains are not made of iron, but of insecurity, pride, fear, and the endless hunger for validation. He is not a man, he is a mirror, reflecting whatever the world projects onto him. But the one who has mastered response is no longer reactive. He acts from center, he moves from vision, he speaks from understanding. He becomes a lighthouse, still, unmoved, and yet guiding others through their storms. Now let me tell you what very few dare to admit. Most people are not afraid of failure. They are addicted to drama. They do not want peace, they want stimulation. They do not want clarity, they want attention. They are more comfortable reacting than thinking, more addicted to emotion than committed to discipline. But you are here for something more. You are here to become the kind of individual that success is magnetized to. Not because you scream for it, but because you are aligned with it. When your mind is calm, when your values are clear, when your emotions are tamed, you become an irresistible force. You become a leader, not just of business, but of destiny. Now understand this and let this truth echo into every chamber of your being. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be aligned. Do not trade alignment for approval. Do not betray your inner compass just to please the crowd. Approval fades, but character endures. Praise evaporates, but principle remains. The man who seeks to be loved by all will compromise his soul to gain their applause. But the man who lives by discipline and detachment becomes respected not because he pleases, but because he leads. And what does leadership demand? That you master your impulses, that you delay gratification, that you carry the fire of purpose through the cold winds of rejection. Let others fall for comfort. You were made for conquest. Do not flinch when life punches you. Smile, for now you get to prove your training. Do not complain when friends leave. Celebrate, for now you stand unshaken in solitude. Do not tremble when the future looks uncertain. Decide, for now you forge certainty from within. Let me now speak to your future, not the future the world fears, but the one you will build. Your future will not be decided by your circumstances. It will not be decided by your family. It will not be decided by the economy, the market, or your so-called luck. It will be decided by one thing and one thing only: your ability to control your inner world. That is the only battlefield that matters. If you win there, nothing can stop you. If you lose there, nothing can save you. So master your thoughts. Master your emotions. Master your reactions. And your life will obey. Now, let us close this segment with one eternal command. Never surrender your inner throne. You may lose money, you may lose opportunities, you may even lose people. But do not lose your mind. Do not lose your standard. Do not lose your ability to remain calm, conscious, and committed no matter what. That is how you stay happy when life tries to break you. Not by pretending, not by avoiding, but by standing, by mastering, by deciding. The storms will come, but the wise man does not pray for calm seas. He trains to become a better sailor. You are that sailor. There are riches that glitter in the bank, and there are riches that burn in the soul. The man with mental fortitude may lose his possessions, but he never loses his posture. He may lose his title, but he never loses his tone, for he knows the greatest possession is mastery over self. Mental fortitude is the invisible armor you wear when the world pelts you with rejection, with misunderstanding, with unexpected trials. The average man collapses. The wise man contracts inward and grows sharper. Understand this. There is a reason emotional discipline is rare, because it is earned. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is the byproduct of thousands of unseen victories over impulse. It is forged in moments when you could have screamed but chose silence, when you could have complained but chose construction, when you could have quit but chose to stay. If emotional chaos is a fire, then mental discipline is the hand that shapes the flame into purpose. Fire alone burns everything in its path. But fire mastered becomes warmth, becomes energy, becomes illumination. So it is with your emotions. Left undirected, they consume. Channeled through discipline, they create. Now let me give you a principle that few men ever study, but all must live by. Emotion is fast. Truth is slow. Emotion reacts in seconds. Truth reveals itself over time. Emotion rushes to conclusions. Truth demands investigation. Emotion wants vengeance. Truth requires justice. Emotion wants noise. Truth arrives in silence. So if you want truth about your life, your decisions, your future, you must slow down. You must wait for the turbulence to settle. No man sees clearly through muddy water stirred by his own panic. But if he waits, clarity rises. This is why the man who has trained his stillness becomes wiser than 10,000 who shout with unexamined certainty. If you find yourself overwhelmed, pause. If you feel the fire of reaction rising, breathe. If you are tempted to respond with anger, walk away and return with vision. Let others be driven by impulse. You were born to be driven by insight. Now we come to a harsh and necessary law, a principle that separates creators from consumers, visionaries from victims. You are responsible for your internal state, no one else. If you are angry, do not blame them. If you are anxious, Do not blame the world. If you are weak, do not blame your past. If you are distracted, do not blame the noise. You are the gatekeeper, you are the governor, you are the sculptor of your own emotional experience. This is not cruelty, it is liberation. For the moment you take full ownership of your inner state, you reclaim power from every person, every event, every disappointment that once owned you. Freedom begins the day you stop waiting to feel better and start deciding to think better. Say it with me. I am responsible for what I feel. I am responsible for what I think. I am responsible for what I do. Now let us not deceive ourselves. Mastery is not perfection. You will falter. You will have moments when anger slips through the cracks, when fear catches you off guard, when doubt creeps in. But the difference is this: you now recognize it. You do not feed it. You do not serve it. You do not make it your identity. You correct. You realign. You rise. The man who trains emotional detachment is not void of emotion. He is void of emotional slavery. He is not dead inside. He is alive with clarity. And clarity is the highest form of confidence. Now, let me give you a mental model, a way of thinking that will change how you see your role in this world. You are not a thermometer. You are a thermostat. A thermometer reflects the environment. It rises and falls depending on what happens around it. But a thermostat sets the environment. It decides the atmosphere. It creates the temperature. The average man is a thermometer reacting to the moods of others, the news of the day, the pressures of life. But the exceptional man is a thermostat. He brings stability, certainty, presence wherever he goes. So ask yourself, every morning, will I reflect today, or will I set the tone? Will I allow circumstances to command me, or will I command myself? And with that decision, you shape your day. And when you shape enough days with conscious detachment and disciplined thought, you shape a destiny. Let us now return to a foundational truth, a truth that very few confront head-on. Happiness is not found, it is built. People chase happiness as if it were hidden behind a mountain or locked away in someone else's approval. They run from moment to moment, searching, grasping, negotiating with the world to give them peace. But happiness is not a product. It is a process, a discipline, a decision. It is built every time you choose not to react. It is built every time you discipline your focus. It is built every time you move forward regardless of emotion. And when life tries to break you, it is not taking away your happiness, it is testing the foundation on which your happiness was built. So if your happiness collapses in the face of hardship, it was never built on truth, it was built on illusion. And now you are being invited to build it on something that cannot be shaken. Build your happiness on principles, on purpose, on internal control. Say to yourself, no one can make me angry without my consent. No one can steal my joy unless I hand it to them. No one can define my worth unless I forget who I am. And if you ever do forget, return to stillness, return to breath, return to thought. There, your identity awaits. Let us end this portion with a final command. Stop seeking peace from the world. Start supplying it to the world. Be the source, be the example, be the leader who walks into chaos and does not contribute to it but calms it. You cannot always fix what is broken outside you, but you can become unbreakable inside. That is your mission, that is your power, that is your destiny. You have walked the fire. You have stared your reactions in the eye. You have learned that suffering is not your enemy, it is your mirror. And now, you must become something greater than what life expected of you. You must become unavailable to your old excuses, unavailable to your former fears, unavailable to the weak version of you that once begged for peace instead of building it. Because the man who stays happy when life tries to break him is not gifted, he is governed. He does not chase. He does not retreat. He does not beg. He decides. He directs. He dominates first within, then without. The world tells you to express every emotion, to follow every mood, to indulge every whim. But that world is exhausted, chaotic, fragile. The world screams louder each year and listens less, reacts faster but understands slower. You are not here to join that noise. You are here to silence it by silencing it within yourself. You do not need more noise. You need more clarity. You do not need more friends. You need more principles. You do not need more applause. You need more silence in which to hear your own convictions rise. Because only in silence will you hear what fear drowns out the voice of your will. And your will is not polite. It does not whisper comfort. It commands change. Now, let me give you the final weapon, the principle that binds all others. It is called the internal standard. When you build your life around results alone, you will be tossed in every direction. Sometimes the effort will not bring reward, sometimes the right choice will still hurt. If you are defined by outcome, you are always vulnerable. But when you live by standard, internal, unshakable, immovable, then you win no matter what. You choose to stay calm even when others don't deserve it. You choose to be disciplined even when no one is watching. You choose to act with principle even when it costs you comfort. Because you are not doing it for them. You are doing it for the man you are building. You are doing it because you said you would. You are doing it because your peace is not reactive, it is rooted. And let me tell you the truth, most motivational speakers are afraid to say, happiness is not a reward. It is not a gift handed to you for doing what feels good. It is the natural result of living with integrity, the byproduct of choosing responsibility over reaction, the fruit of radical alignment between who you are and how you act, no matter what the world throws at you. You will not be free until you stop asking the world to make you feel good. You will not be strong until you stop negotiating with your own weakness. You will not be happy until you realize every emotion is an invitation, but you are the one who decides who gets in. And what will you allow in from this moment forward? Only what serves, only what strengthens, only what aligns with the future you have declared is yours. Let the world shake. Let people come and go. Let fear knock. You will answer with calm. You will answer with clarity. You will answer with the steady flame of a man who no longer waits for peace, but is peace. Because you have remembered who you are. You are not your failures. You are not your feelings. You are not your fears. You are the one who commands them. You are the one who sees clearly, thinks accurately, chooses wisely, acts decisively, and builds daily from the inside out. You are no longer available to the old life, no longer available to your emotional chaos, no longer available to the story that once told you, you can't, because now you know. Every storm that tried to break you has only revealed the strength you had all along. Now walk not like a man who hopes, but like a man who knows. You are the master of emotion. You are the ruler of thought. You are the source of happiness. And from this moment on, you will never again surrender the throne.